Ready for school age?
Yes.
This is a fun age too. All right. So this is age 6 to 12. Okay. And their big keywords are collectors and competition. Okay. So they collect everything, Pokemon cards, right? And everything is a competition. I'm going to win. I have to win. And that will make sense in a second. So their Erikson stage is industry versus inferiority. What does that mean?
They're trying to achieve like complicated like tasks and like trying to just like further their like abilities.
And if they're not the best,
then they feel inferior.
They're the worst.
Like,
there is first and there's last and there's no in between. Okay. I don't know if y'all had parents that did this, but my dad was always like, second is the first last.
Yeah, second is the first loser.
Okay. So it's very harmful to say that. So industry versus inferiority is, in their mind, they're still very black and white thinkers, right? So in their mind, they're either the best or they're the worst. They're either first place or they're nothing. Okay. Like when I was I went to this very small private school when I was in 5th grade. And the teacher put like this big apple tree on the door. Like she made like one of those paper ones, you know, and on every exam, she would put the apples on the tree based on what your score was. So she would put like your score and then like high up on the tree. And then if you got a bad score, she would put like farther down the tree. And if you like failed or something, she'd put you like on the floor, like you're a bad apple that fell. It was mortifying. I was so scared that I was going to be like the bad apple that fell off the tree, that I would study and study and study and study. Yeah, that was really sick. Okay. But that's what they're thinking is industry versus inferiority. I'm either the best or I'm nothing. There's no in between. Okay. So how do I facilitate that? Because obviously we have to fix that way of thinking, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff in between.
Is it kind of like you challenge them, but you have to kind of know know what they can and can't do so that you don't make them feel bad if they can't do it?
No, they have to try, right?
Yeah.
So, but for them, what is the end game here?
Losing.
Right. I have to be first. Okay. So we praise the effort and not the end result. I don't care if you get first, second, third, sixth, whatever. If you got, 6th place, but well, I saw you stop and help your friend when he fell down. That was so kind. So I would not focus. We don't focus on places. This is where the participation trophies came in. Now, I do not agree with those across the board. Okay. But that was what their thinking is this age group, right? Which is the age of sports and like they're all playing stuff, right? Was to try to get out of that. But then what they actually did with that was like just praise nothing, right? Everybody gets a trophy no matter if you work hard or not. There's a middle ground there. Okay. So what I mean by praise the effort and not the end result, like let's say they're going out for science fair, right? That's a big thing at this age group. And they worked really, really, really hard on it and they get first place. I'm not going to say you are so smart. You got first place. That is amazing. I'm not saying that. I'm going to say you worked really, really hard on that science fair project. It must feel very good for that to pay off for you. Okay. Or if it doesn't go the way that they wanted, I would still say, I saw you working hard on that every day. And I'm so proud of how hard you worked on that. I know it didn't end up the way that you wanted it to, but I'm proud of you. And I hope you see all the hard work in yourself. Okay. So the places don't matter as much. What are you so giggly for?
Because I was thinking about the food story with that girl.
Oh, you can't get over this? Oh my God. I hope she never sees this video.
So doesn't that mess up the like industry part? Like if you just award everybody, doesn't that make the kids that like you tell them, oh, you got first place, like you worked so hard for that, you did a good job. Does that somehow mess up with that since they're like giving everybody like participation, even just doing nothing?
I do think so. I think the kids that are more hard workers or overachievers, I do think it takes from them. That's why I don't agree with participation trophies across all. I think every kid should get a trophy for like, like soccer or something like that when you're like 6, because you're going to realize school age is a huge range. A 6-year-old is very different than a 12-year-old. Right. Emmy is 6, Kaden is 12. And look at how different that in age. So you got to realize that part. So like at Emmy's age, yes, they should all get a trophy. At Caden's age, but now they're making it to where, kids think they just need to show up and they get rewarded. And that is, I think, going to show up in the work environment. Well, I showed up today. Sorry, you have made 0 sales, but I'm here. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a middle ground somewhere. Okay. All right. Piaget's, we are in pre-operational till age 7, which I already talked about before. Remember, they're black and white. They have a hard time thinking of other people. And then from 7 to 12, they become concrete thinkers. And I know that sounds the opposite of what it is. It gives me like a concrete thinker thing. I think it's like stuck in stone, but they become a little bit more logical. They're able to problem solve with you. Okay. So they can sit down at a different time. They can see things from your point of view. I can see things from my point of view and yours. And they actually start to rationalize and they're able to be a little less egotistical. Okay. Kohlberg stage, they are in what's called conventional, which means that conformity is kind of important, right? They want to be kind of like everybody else, but loyalty also plays a role in that. And so does fairness. Everything at this age has to be fair, 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 fair. Okay. So in the conventional stage, what they think, now this is kind of interesting. I'm going to stop for a second and talk about this. When I say conformity, they think it should be across the board fair for everybody. Okay. In theory, that sounds nice. It should be fair for everyone. But actually, I saw this teacher on TikTok that was talking about this because she teaches school age kids. And she's like, how do we get them through this stage, basically? So what she did was she had them all sit around in a circle and then tell about a time where they hurt themselves. Okay. So like, you tell me a time like you were little and you like hurt yourself.
I was roller skating and I busted my knee open.
Okay. So then she took a Band-Aid and she went and put a Band-Aid on your knee. Okay. Now you tell me a time where you were hurt as a kid.
Fell down and hit my head.
Okay. But I'm going to put a Band-Aid on your knee because that's fair. I put a Band-Aid on her knee. So you should get a Band-Aid on your knee because that's that's conformity and that's fair. You?
I fell down and broke my leg.
Okay. So I'm going to put a Band-Aid on your knee. Okay. And you?
Sprained my ankle.
Okay. But I'm going to put a Band-Aid on your knee. Okay. Now, did everybody get fair treatment?
Yeah.
Yes. Because in their mind, fairness means everybody's treated the same, but that's not what fairness means. Fairness means that everybody gets their needs met. Your need was different than her need. She needed, to get a head wound taken care of, right? And needed to get your leg bandaged, right? Like, so fairness, what we have to switch their mind thinking is fairness doesn't mean everybody gets treated equally, because that doesn't work for each individual person. It means that everybody gets their needs met. But in this stage, all they think is that's not fair. And it's usually not fair because they didn't win, right?
Yeah.
So they can cheat to win. They can cheat to win because they have to be the best, right? Industry.
Mm-hmm.
But if other people cheat, that's not fair. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So in fairness, we have to be really careful to facilitate that and to let them understand. I have this is probably the biggest issue in my home right now is fairness, because Caden is almost 13 and Emmy is 6, but he can't see that. Okay. So Emmy gets something. And I buy her shit all the time because her love language is gifts and she's a little girl. Okay. And why do you buy me something? Because you're a 13-year-old boy. Like, what am I going to buy you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His love language is quality time. Okay. But he sees like, you're buying her presents. You don't buy me a present. But if I buy him a present, he really does not care. That is not his love language at all. He will give away every gift he's ever gotten. Okay. Like at Christmas, he doesn't care. I buy them, but he just doesn't, that's not his love language.
Mm-hmm.
So if I treated them equally, I'd be buying Caden stuff that he doesn't really want. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If I treated them equally, then I'd be spending all this time with Emmy when she's like, can you just go buy me something? So fairness, it just means something different. But in his mind, like he still can't grasp what fair means. Right. And when he was 6, he got all the attention because there was no other kid there. Right. But he can't see that. He sees I have to share her and that's not fair. Right. But he doesn't realize like she's had to share me or share, her entire life because she's never been the only child. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to kind of change their view of fairness. So since they are collectors and competition, now this is where McDonald's is a genius. What did they create in their Happy Meals?
Toys.
In a set, right? So there's this Hot Wheel and this Hot Wheel and this, and they have to collect them all. So they'll keep telling their parents, like, I need another Happy Meal because I got to get this one. I'm missing this one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They market it specifically to these children with this development in mind. Damn you, McDonald's. Yeah. All right. They, at school age, this is very important. It seems like it's not important, but it is. They want to have an explanation and for you to show them everything. Like if they're getting open heart surgery, I want to see the knife. What does it look like? Let me see it. Oh, what is going to happen when they cut it open? Is there going to be blood everywhere? Is it my blood? Are you going to wear gloves? They want to know every detail. So showing them websites and models of the heart and explaining to them, this is what your heart, like you're doing everything. They want to know all of the stuff. Okay. At this age group, it's okay to do that. Now, if I tried to show a 4-year-old a knife I was going to use to cut open their chest, they probably would not. Okay. Now, preschoolers, the one we just did before, you can show them the equipment. Now, I want to be very clear on this is where people go wrong in PD. Now, showing them the equipment, like let's say I'm going to listen to their chest. Would I show them a stethoscope? Yeah, absolutely. They can take a look at it. They can listen to themselves. I let them listen to me all the time. If they were getting shots, would I show them the equipment? No, because it's an effing needle. So on an exam, people are like, well, you said show them the equipment, ma'am. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So in PD, you have to like, yes, there are things that are kind of set in stone, but really a lot of this is like use your common sense. Okay. But school age kids, they want to see all of it.
Even in-
All of it. I would not show a 6-year-old a needle, but I probably would show a 10-year-old. Yeah. Okay. They may have nocturnal enuresis. What is nocturnal enuresis? Nocturnal means
Pee in the sleep.
pee in the sleep.
Bedwetting.
Pee in the bedwetting. It's probably a better way. If they do not stop bedwetting at age of 5, they probably will not stop until age 12. There's usually no in between. Okay. And it is totally normal. And we just have them help change the sheets and they can change their own bed. I mean, you can do things like reward charts, but like they can't help it. The kid is either a super deep sleeper and they can't wake up, or they have a super small bladder and it won't hold it. Okay. So it's not their fault. They can't help it, but they can like change their own sheets and change their own clothes and things like that. Okay. And functional constipation, very common during school age. Why appendicitis is one of the highest age ranges is this one, because they eat like shit. They don't eat any fiber, right? And they are too embarrassed to poop at school. So they will hold their poop all day long, because I'm not going to poop in front of someone. Emmy does not care. She's like, I poop twice a day. I don't care who's in there. I was like, get it. Yeah, but they are too embarrassed to poop at school. So they'll hold it all day and they get what's called functional constipation, meaning there's nothing wrong with you. It's like functionally that way because you are holding it. Okay. Gross motor at 6, they have to move constantly. That's why like having them sit at a desk all day is an absolute joke. So I don't care what they say about my kids' behavior. They need to move. At 10 to 12, they can learn to cook and sew and do those kind of things, which is nice. Fine motor at 6, they love to draw and they love to color. At 8, they have enough dexterity to do cursive writing, but cursive is hard. Y'all even know how to write in cursive?
They taught us for 1 year and then never did it again.
Yeah, same.
I think it was like 2nd grade, maybe first or something like that. They taught us one time.
And that was
then
it?
Never again. Like,
But
that
y'all can't
whole
read
year.
cursive, can you? Oh, you
I
can?
can. I
Okay.
can read it. I can't. Or I can write it, but it's not pretty.
Oh, okay. All right. This is the age where empathy starts to develop. Now they're able to see something from someone else's perspective. That's why before this age, like it's such a joke to make them like try to care about somebody else. They don't. They only see themselves. They're egocentric. That's it. But they have to do that because they need somebody. First of all, I want them to feel like, oh my God, I'm the shit, you know, because they will start to lose that confidence. If one, that's important. 2, seeing how somebody loves you through that egocentrism is really important. Because remember, we talked about the love map, things like that. So how they see other people love them when they're so self-centered teaches them to love others that way. So eventually the kid will pick up on it and do it. You cannot force gratitude. You cannot force gratefulness. You cannot force empathy. It's something that the kid will do when they feel that. Okay. All right, issues. Bullying is a big issue at this age, and school phobias. Now, school phobia, they don't want to go to school and they'll say their stomach hurts and they'll say their head hurts and they're sick. And it's usually because there's a bully or something's happening at school. They still have to go to school. You cannot keep them home just because they don't want to go to school. Okay. Now I'm all for mental health days, believe me. But I am not for keeping a kid at a school where they are being bullied. If you have tried to bring it to administration, that's not working. You need to get them out of there because kids are committing suicide younger and younger because of bullying. Pull them, you know. ADD and ADHD, we first start to see in this age group. Scabies and ringworm. You know, scabies are the bugs that crawl underneath their skin and lay eggs. They itch.
And then they scratch everywhere else.
Yeah, usually it's between the webs of the fingers and the webs of the toes. And then ringworm is not actually a worm. Y'all know it's a fungus on your body, but it just looks like, just a circle. All right, sports, very big in this age group because they're keywords for school ages.
Collective and competition.
Yes, they will cheat to win, but nobody else better do so. Right? They are dead set on rules and fairness, and that's not fair. And this is black and white. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. The big thing, like finger puppets for what age group? Toddlers. Board games for school age. You're going to pick board games because they like to compete, right? Monopoly and checkers and those kind of things. Chores. They can start doing chores. They can take out the dishes, unload the dishwasher. I said take out the dishes, didn't I?
Yeah.
Take out the trash, do the dishes. Sorry. It is important for them to do that. All right. They can tell time at what age? 7. Okay. They will have same-sex playmates all through the school age. Because how embarrassing, you know? They're going to lose their teeth around age 6 to 7, where we start getting permanent teeth in. Make sure you praise the effort, not the result. That's how to guide them through their Erikson stage. Yeah.
Yes.
Clubs, teams, peer groups, very important because their keywords are collectors and competition. So like Cub Scouts and like basketball teams, like this is sports and everything. Okay. Their body image and self-esteem are really important at this age, not as big as adolescents, but like they're starting like realize there's the girl over there, you know? And so that is really important to them. There is no like height, weight stuff to know for this age group. You just need to look for a sudden weight gain, which can mean like depression or things like that, or their bad eating habits, or a sudden weight loss, which could mean anorexia, eating disorders, stress, you know, so that's what we're really looking for on the growth curve. Puberty may start because this is 6 to 12. Who starts first, girls or boys? Girls start first. Girls start with, what's the first sign of puberty? Breast buds are first. Very good. Girls usually develop 2 years before boys do. Okay, which really confuses the boys because the girls are all like developed and the boys are like short and like they have a high voice like this. Yeah. All right. They are very motivated by peer approval. Now, adolescents are peer acceptance, but school age, they want like their peers to be like, wow, you're so great. Yeah. Okay. Schoolwork, this is very, very important, which is why I drew a picture. Schoolwork is very important to them because industry versus inferiority. So like, okay, so I kept Caden home last week for like one day because he had like 100.4 and I was like, you know, they're probably gonna call me from school. So I was like, just stay home. He freaked out because he was like, I'm gonna miss my schoolwork, I'm gonna miss my homework. And he was afraid like he was gonna get behind. So especially the kids that are chronic care, like if you go to MD Anderson and their PD unit, they have a school there for the kids. So they can get up and go to school every day because this age group, they don't want to feel behind, right? Because that's inferiority, not industry, right? So doing their schoolwork and their homework is like super important for them. Do you understand? Because they feel like they're the best or at this age, they can understand death and they can plan their own funerals because they understand that death is final and they understand when they're going to die. I know this is really awful. And they want to ask a lot of questions. Will it hurt? Where am I going? Who's going to be here? Because remember, they want to know everything and you have to tell them. Okay. This is the age where you tell them everything. Now, preschool, we have to kind of sugarcoat things for like everything, but school age, they want the honest truth and they want to know all the answers. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. What did I miss?
20/20 vision.
Oh yeah, they can see now. And they want to know why and how things work. So you need to break it all down for them. They want to see it on you can pull up websites for them to look things up. So like if they're having heart surgery, if they're having their appendix out, well, where is my appendix? What does my appendix do? Show me my appendix. They want to know it all. Understand?
Yes.
All right. Questions on school age?
Oh, safety.
Oh, thank you. Where is that at?
Top corner. Helmets, swimming, booster seat.
Oh yeah. Okay. When you said top left, I was looking at top right. So, helmets when they go and like do skating, skateboarding, bicycle. Thank you. That's really important. Swimming is very important. Remember, water safety at every age, very important. They need to be in a booster seat, which is like a 5-point harness or a booster until they're 4'9". Caden just got out of a booster seat last year. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they're too short. So the seatbelt falls right here. So if they're in an accident, it can actually internally decapitate them. No big deal. Gun safety, very important to teach them. Firearm safety, so that you have a safe. It should be locked in the safe and they should know never to touch a gun, yada, yada. Learn to swim, very important. Highlight, no trampolines.
Really?
CDC came out with something because of so many injuries. Kids are gonna get hurt.
So I've seen like
Trampolines are so fun.
Yes, they are.
But anyhow, CDC came out with some kind of thing that was like, nobody should ever be on a trampoline.
That's super dumb.
Dude, I've had like my craziest stunts on a trampoline. My sister, you know how you can like jump and like bounce people? Oh, me and my
Yeah.
sister hated each other. So we used to
Popcorn.
do each other. Yeah. Well, we used to do that to each other all the time, but she jumped. She had braces. She jumped and she went off the side and face planted and her lip got stuck in her braces. So we had to pull and like rip it off her braces. What? She's a better person for it. Jump on the trampoline. Yeah. So that's a really big deal. Do y'all hear me?
Yes.
They're not supposed to be on trampolines. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that water safety is important at every age?
Yes.
All right. Moving along. Let's go ahead and do adolescence real quick.
They're called breast buds.
Yes.
Ew.
You don't like breast buds?
No.
Oh, no.
Look at my bloods.
No.
I've never heard that before.
Me either.
Let me start this up really quick. Hold on. You've never heard of that?